It's a linear thing. You cannot fall through it.
Well, like Phoenix to Yuma and going back, that's what it feels like for me, and not making any progress. And
well, don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay. So, how do you deal with creating by default?
First, we want to say, soften your resistance by saying, my resistance is getting less and less. I'm understanding this more and more. Soften your resistance by saying, Abraham was talking to us yesterday in a way I had not heard before when they talked about thought addiction. And maybe I'm like everybody else in that I've been introduced to subjects before I was remembering that I had control over my vibration, before I even knew about vibration, before I knew that I am a vibrational being transmitting a radio signal that law of attraction is responding to. I was learning thought patterns from those who were surrounding me. I was trained not to pay attention to my guidance system before I remembered that I even have one. So it's natural that I would have some habitual thoughts that are strong and therefore harder to release. But I have dealt with things that are difficult, and I can deal with this. All that was necessary was an understanding of how the laws of the universe work. And I've got that now. And so now it's just a gradual, your words, simple, our words, steady, our words, attention to, not words, not thoughts, but feeling. As I care greatly about how I feel, and I pay attention to how I feel, I can close this gap easily. And as you begin to approach it like that, you see, we think what happens is so many of you feel this urgency to close the gap. And the reason you do that is because you compare yourself with other people and their gaps. And you think that there is some competition or some grade or some mark on the chart somewhere. And you even call yourself inappropriate when your gap is wide, and you call yourself more appropriate when you have closed it and come into alignment. And we want you to accept that it is whatever it is on a myriad of subjects and just use it as guidance. Do you really feel any judgmental feeling about the gas gauge in your vehicle? In other words, are you proud when it's full and ashamed when it's empty? Are you in love with your car when it's full, and do you hate it when it's empty? Or is it just a gauge that gives you information about something that you might do which would give you benefit? And we want you to feel the same way about your emotions. It's a gauge. It's not a judgment. It's not God in heaven saying to you, you're inappropriate in your depression or in your rage or in your anger, and you are most appropriate in your love. It's an indicator of your connection, and it's an indicator for your purpose. In other words, just can you imagine? Now, we really want to get this in a way that you can really feel it. Can you imagine someone stopping you at checkpoints along the highway and shining the light into your car to look at your gas gauge and saying, this is very inappropriate? You would say, mind your own business. You would say, my car, my gas gauge, my gas tank, my fuel, my life, my experience. In other words, it would be ridiculous for them to pass judgment about your gauge. And in the same way, it is inappropriate for others to pass judgment about whether you are happy or whether you are sad, whether you are connected or where you are not. What we are saying to you is this is a gauge, an indicator for self only, you see. And so once you come into awareness of this gauge and you stop trying to evaluate how you're doing as it is seen through the eyes of others, we think you'll lighten up right away. We think that you are worried about what other people are feeling about what you're feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
And we want it not to matter what they're feeling about what you're feeling. And so it's an interesting thing because you're also interwoven. You're feeling something and you know they're feeling something about you're feeling something. And now you're feeling something about they're feeling something about you're feeling something. And it all gets so entangled that that's why you sort of lose your place. But when all that matters is that I don't feel all that good. Oh, that feels better. Oh, it could feel better still. Oh, that feels better. When you're just fixated on how you feel, and you're letting that guide what you say, what you think, what you remember, what you anticipate, what you observe. In other words, how I feel about it. Don't you do that even sometimes when you're watching television? Don't you choose based upon how you feel? There's a program Esther likes to watch because it makes her, it agrees with what she thinks on a lot of subjects. And so she sort of enjoys watching it. But on the nights that it doesn't agree so much with her, she doesn't enjoy it so much. She turns it off. She wants to see something that makes her feel the way she wants to feel. All of you have that mechanism within you.